Geese you look at a microscope is probably the smallest living thing you've ever seen. Think about the tallest tree you've ever seen. It's probably the largest living thing you've ever seen. Between the single-celled huge tree, there's a wide variety of other living things. Some of the things you can biodiversity is diversity among living things. At the end of this video, you should be able to differentiate among the three types of biodiversity, explain the value of biodiversity, and describe the major threats to biodiversity. Biodiversity is the total of all genetic variation in all living things. Genetically based means its variety is coded for in DNA. The variety might be in the way something looks, but not all appearances are genetic. If you use green hair dye and green school days, you change your appearance without changing your DNA. And not all genetic variety can be seen in your outward appearance. The fact that you get sick from a virus going around and your friend doesn't has to do with the genetic variety of the immune system. When you're exposed to certain bugs and when you get vaccines, you're training your immune system to respond to future invaders. Not all immunity has to be either. There are three types of biodiversity: ecosystem diversity, and genetic diversity. Ecosystem diversity has to do with a variety of habitats. Species diversity refers to the number of different species in the biosphere. Remember, a species can be defined as organisms that are able to mate and reproduce fertile offspring. Genetic variety refers to variety within a species. Species with a lot of genetic variety has many different forms that they have. Despite how different you think humans look, humans actually don't have a lot of genetic diversity. We're only about 0.1% different than any other human. Species like cheetah have been bred in captivity because of such small population numbers, and they have very low species diversity, which makes them difficult to compete. There are three main reasons why biodiversity is important to humans. First of all, most modern medicines were discovered in plants. Aspirin originally came from willow trees, but we now create the chemical in labs. Many other medicines come from plants, and no doubt there are many medications from plants that we haven't even discovered yet. Biodiversity is also important in agriculture. The majority of crop plants that we eat are genetically identical to each other. However, crop plants have wild relatives. Wild tomatoes are only the size of a pea, but we've bred them to have very large fruits. It's important to maintain genetic variety so that the genes from wild varieties can be engineered into crop plants to give crops desirable characteristics and resistance to diseases. The graph on the right shows how much genetic diversity existed in different crop plants in 1903. The wider the colored bar, the more genetic diversity amongst the crop plant. The bottom portion of the graph reflects current genetic diversity. The potato famine in Ireland was caused by a virus, and because there is very little diversity among the potatoes, the large percentage of potatoes were wiped out by the disease. If the potato population were dispersed, the famine wouldn't have been as severe. Finally, different species help ecosystems in different ways. Plants with large roots hold soil in place and prevent erosion, and plants are able to take up poisonous metals in soil, which prevent groundwater from being contaminated. In all the ways biodiversity is helpful, human activity is reducing the amount of biodiversity. The five main ways when we build roads, homes, and buildings, different organisms. The smaller the habitat is, the fewer species that can live there. When areas are developed, splitting one large habitat into several small ones, biological islands are created. This is called habitat fragmentation. Destroying and altering species habitats is the #1 cause of extinction. Hunting and demand for animal products is another significant cause of species extinction. Laws protect endangered and threatened species, but people still illegally hunt animals like elephants and alligators for leather and ivory. The second largest cause of extinction is the introduction of invasive species. Species are transported around the world due to the large amount of global travel and exchange of goods. When a new organism comes in and has no natural predators, it's able to eat its prey unchecked, which causes a major reduction in the resources for organisms throughout the ecosystem. Lack of resources can cause organisms to die and eventually become extinct. Pollution and climate change also result in the loss of biodiversity. Changing environmental conditions faster than species can adapt can cause the extinction of organisms. This is threatening coral reefs, which contain huge amounts of biodiversity because of the different types of coral and the fish that live in and on the reef. Many organisms that live in and on a coral reef have a very small range of tolerance, and small changes can have big effects, wiping out species. There are two main strategies that are important in conserving biodiversity, so future generations can benefit from the organisms that live on Earth now. First of all, individual species can be protected. Endangered species have plans put together by an organization called the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. It usually involves breeding the animals in captivity. Breeding might take place at zoos or conservation organizations. At Tyson Research Center near Castlewood Park, there's a breeding program that's attempting to increase the number of wolves. Because the biggest reason for extinction is the destruction of habitats, it's also important to preserve the natural habitats of endangered animals. States and national parks set aside land that cannot be developed, in order to preserve the biodiversity in those habitats. Ecological hotspots are places where significant numbers of species and habitats are near extinction. In the map below, they're highlighted in red.